Hi guys, welcome to my log. And this month, and yes, I know it's the end of the month, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a few pieces of queer literature, two of which I've read, and the rest are ones that are on my TBR or have been highly recommended to me over the past few months or just in general in life. Great. Okay, better late than never. Happy Pride Month. By the time you see this, fingers crossed it's the 30th and not July. So the two pieces that I read this month are A Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School by Sonora Reyes. Sonora Reyes? Okay, great. And then I'm just gonna have to keep turning back and forth because these books are a little. There's not a lot of space for me, girl. It's upside down now. I Hear the Sunspot, volumes 1 through 3. Just to clarify, this green one in the front right here, the one that's upside down, is the original one shot. The one in the middle, Theory of Happiness, is the second volume and the sequel to the first one. And then Limit is a continuation of the series, but it's like its own series, if that makes sense. You're with me? Great. Let's go through A Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. Why did I pick this up? Well, Jaylene used to go to a Catholic school, and it deals with Latin X culture. So we follow Yamilet, or Yami as her friends call her, as she transfers over to Slayton, which is a very gay sounding name for a Catholic school. But she transfers to Slayton with her brother Caesar, or Cersa, whatever you want to call them, and she has to deal with being not only Latina in a white Catholic school, but a closeted lesbian in a predominantly white and straight school. YA has changed vastly from when I was a YA reader. I think, at least to me, it has a broader range and it covers a little more explicit content, which, I mean, and not that I wasn't reading explicit content at that age, but it's just weird to see it in like normal books. I don't know. I'm not gonna get too deep into that conversation. I think this falls on the younger side of YA though. The writing is kind of like easy to read and understand, and I got through this fairly quickly. I would say it's kind of like it would be more of a transitional piece from like I guess kids to like young adult. Some of the writing is a little cringe, and I mean in the terms of dang, high schoolers really talk like that, or is this what I sounded like when I was in high school? Because I was a teenager many years ago at this point, and that makes me sick to my stomach saying that. Um, but yeah, so we follow Yami, and I think it's a really overall good story. I just think it's not for my demographic, so like, it's not that I'm not gonna like rave about it. Let me just make sure I covered everything. Let me see. Yami not only deals with her queer identity, but also having to deal with her traditional Mexican roots. It's about embracing them, but also having these traditional parents that you think maybe don't hold the same ideals as you grow. And it's very much living her queer identity within her culture on top of having to deal with the outside world. There are plot lines that do get like kind of pushed to the side or just don't get addressed at the end of it, and it makes me intrigued enough that I do want to read the sequel to it, which I forget what it's called, but it deals with Cersei, and I think he has bipolar disorder. I don't know if they diagnosed him. I don't remember him being diagnosed in this book, but yeah. So now I Hear the Sunspot, as you saw, was 3 volumes, but like 3 different things. It is a BL manga, and listen, I am a BL lover, and I know the hot takes and conversations that come with BL because of its controversial, or like some of the stories and the way they go about the gays and their relationships. Hold on, I worded it right in my writing. Boy love. Okay, so if you don't know, BL stands for boy love, which is a hot topic sometimes because the nature of some of them, which can border on like abusive, especially like the older ones when you look up at it. I think the important thing is to remember, I think BL is catered more towards women. It's not necessarily catered to the gays. That is a whole different subgenre of like I don't want to get into the sub genres and stuff about manga or whatever, but because like I'm not well versed in it myself, it's very complex and like hard to like understand when something is not a josei or when something is actually a seinen, whatever. Um, but yeah, but basically this is gays but catered towards women. So there's aspects of it that may or may not. Yeah. Okay, great. Controversial. Sometimes not everything is a BL. Great. Um so I hear the Sunspot, I'm glad to say, is not one of those controversial ones. It is actually quite a slow burn, and within the first 3 volumes that I have, the both hold on. And the 3 volumes that I've read, both Yuki and Kohei are still in a gray zone of what the hell their relationship is, and I'm stressed out. I finished Limit 1, which is the last one that I read. This is the third one. I need the second one. I need volume 2 right now because I need these boys to communicate, okay? I will say the original one shot, there's not a lot of anything in terms of romance, or like it's not queer identity focused. It just happens to be 2 boys in love. Okay, so it's not dealing with the identity is not within itself a main part of within itself. I think maybe a little bit, like at first, because they both have never been with another, so they don't know. But outside of that, I think it's more of a focus on the fact that Kohei is hearing impaired, and it's both how Kohei deals with his hearing loss. He's not completely deaf yet, and how he deals with it being in a hearing abled world, and kind of like the struggles between that, like being an in between that, a hearing abled and like deaf person. There's a whole section of like hearing impaired where people are hard of hearing, and there's not necessarily anything that's like specifically for them. So it's about Kohei dealing with it, and then also Yuki, right? Yeah, Yuki. And also Yuki trying to like figure out how he can help Kohei, which I think is really sweet, and I actually really enjoy it. So if you like that, I like it. It's really cute, it's really sweet. It reminded me of my roots as as a BL girl. I love this series, and I'm surprised how much I like it, because it's been on my shelf for so long. It's sitting next to an actually quite controversial BL that I won't bring up right now, that is still wrapped in plastic. I hear the Sunspot, I think the Theory of Happiness one was actually one that I got from Kino, and Kino likes to plastic wrap their yaois and BLs, and I just recently, the other day, unwrapped its plastic. Like, that's how long it's been on my shelf. So those are the 2 that I read. I did intend to read, I forget what it's called, but I read the manga for it last year, and I thought I had the manga and the book. And it turns out I may have gotten rid of both of them. If I remember the name of the book, it's also a Japanese one. But I literally searched this shelf like 3 times because I knew it was on this shelf. Gone. But it was a really sweet book. I wanted to read the actual memoir of it, and apparently I may have rid of it before I got to read it. So now we're gonna speed run the series and books that I have that are my TBR or have been recommended to me. Ready, guys? Okay, so When the Tides Held the Moon by Vanessa Vida Kelly, a queer historical fantasy fiction. We follow a Puerto Rican blacksmith in New York City, specifically Coney Island, that falls in love with a merman who was part of I believe, a sideshow circus. I have it on that shelf over there that you can't see right now. I got it part of my Aardvark book club series, Majiggy. Great. Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. Because nothing screams queer like religious trauma. I believe, I forgot the characters' names. I know one is Sarah. Sarah is the one dealing with like Catholic and Catholicism. and I forget the other one, but one is in love with her best friend. And actually, it follows a quite, hold on. If you do happen, I don't know in what world these have like the same kind of rating people. Um, or maybe you read one when you're younger and then you read the other one when you're older. But Sunburn actually, not that it reminds me, I think the aspect or just reading the blurb of it reminds me of a plot line, plot hole kind of thing that was touched upon in A Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. And it's just really intriguing. So it's like different like age groups, similar plots. Not similar, I don't want to say fully similar because I haven't read Sunburn. It's just the Catholicism and the Catholic and religious trauma. Okay? Great. Chlorine by Jade Song. I saw Jade Song at the queer horror panel at BookCon this year, and her story intrigued me. I think it deals with a competitive swimmer believing that she is a mermaid, and it deals with society and like societal pressures and what identity is, and that kind of manifests into a body horror. I'm intrigued by it. You don't know how to behave, then. You don't know how to behave? I don't know. We have to take you off camera. Hello. My cat ran out the door. Yes, Luffy? Right? Okay, great. So, and finally, Miss Major Speaks Conversations with a Black Trans Revolutionary. As much as I like fiction, and like lean in more towards fantasy, I think memoirs are kind of my favorite things to read because I like reading about people and their lives and everything they've been through to get where they get through. Because I think at some point, not at some point, but reading those kind of books kind of sets a kind of reminder that, people come from different kinds of backgrounds and that anything is possible, you just really have to put your mind to it, which is why I'm trying to put my mind to this channel. So, Miss Major Speaks is by Miss Major, Griffith something. I forgot. My phone is being used as a light right now. I forget. But we follow her. She is a Black trans icon, and she was at the Stonewall riots, and she was also a former sex worker, and she really just speaks on trans lives and her life and everything that she's done to advocate throughout life. Great. Love that for her. And I'm really actually excited that I heard about this the other day, I believe like a week ago or so, and I'm really excited to look into it. And the honorable mention goes to Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. I can't really say much on it. It's a book that I've seen and I've just kind of always stared at like, I want to read you. And yes, that does it all for my queer lit recommendations and thoughts and books that I've read during Pride Month. So happy Pride. Shout out to all of you guys. Yeah, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. If you read any of these or like any of these books or have recommendations on books that just happen to be queer, let me know. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And until the next vlog, guys, bye. Happy Pride.